Hi, and welcome to the Ancestor altar video. I wish I had my tools where I am right now. Tools. I wish I could show you my altar, but for now it feels like something that is very personal to me, so I can't exactly share that space. Like, it's not everything for me that can go on camera, but I can, however, tell you the things that I have put on my altar and why I decided to put those particular things on my altar. So, okay, let's do the tools first. Okay, so for starters, maybe let's talk about why an ancestor altar. So obviously any information that I found out about ancestor altars, I found out right here on YouTube, and I also found out on different sites that are on the internet dedicated to teaching people about these things. Most of them were not African, like all of them were mostly stuff that like Hispanic people and the Americans are doing. Is it ignorant that I'm saying Hispanic? I think some Hispanic people are American, right? Anyway, it was mostly about like Europe and America. All of the information that I found out was from there. So it didn't quite feel like it fit, but of course, like with all things, you make them your own and you work with the things that are comfortable for you and the things that feel right, which is exactly what I did. So I guess like the question you probably have right now is, why should I start an ancestor altar, and would it really be for me? Well, see, that depends. Again, I have to focus on the camera, I'm sorry. Again, that depends on the type of person you are and the path that you feel that you are on. For me, it's a lot of conventional things that don't exactly work for me, that don't make sense for me. I've been in them long enough to know that they don't work for me. So what I did was I dabbled in a path that felt just right for me, and also because I have a background in things that are like this, like things to do with ancestors and all, like from my dad's side of the family, that's how things are. So for me, it didn't feel very foreign. It's something that I already grew up seeing my grandma do and my dad and cousins and everybody else. So for me, it felt right, but it might not feel very easy for you if you're coming maybe from a incredibly religious family. Then I totally understand if it's something that might not feel right for you, but hear me out on the reasons why it might be important to have an ancestor altar, and then you can decide after that. So ancestor altars are created so that you have a means of communicating with your bloodline, and this of course is your ancestors. It's people that have passed on, that were your family, that people that are in your bloodline, your ancestors. So because the belief is that people that have passed on have lived in this world and they know how this world functions, and reaching out to them is basically like asking them for guidance on your life right now, because it's something that they've already gone through. So the things that you can talk to your ancestors about are basically anything. These are your aunts, these are your parents maybe, these are your grandparents, and these are people that you would have normal conversations with, and it should be like that on your altar as well, with a strong dash of respect. So yeah, when I'm on my altar, I speak to my ancestors as my friends, as my family. Like I don't speak to them differently like they're ghosts, because that would be weird. So yeah, I converse with them. I sort of give them updates on the things that have been happening, and then I do prayers there. I do prayers on my altar, and I also leave them gifts and offerings just to say thank you, and especially when I have like a big juicy story to tell, I like to bring a snack so that we can, just like I would do in, like if I was going to go and see my grandma, I'd probably like bring something to share with her. So it's just like the same thing. So that's with ancestor altars, you can talk to them about the things that are happening in your life, the things that you want to happen in your life, and you couple that with prayer, you couple that with meditation, you couple it with everything that works for you. Really, your ancestor is your ancestor altar is yours, and what you decide to do with it is completely up to you. And it also goes with the energy that you already have. It's going to go on your altar, right? So yeah, that's on the logic that is behind ancestors. I think the one that is closest to me, the reason is knowing that these people have gone through life already and they've understood how things work in this particular realm. And because now they're also in a position to shift things to your advantage is also another reason why I got into that, because I'm a control freak, and it helps to have like a higher figure to look up to. Not just, this doesn't eliminate God, by the way. I know that might be a question that some people might have. It doesn't eliminate God in your life. You can have your idea of God or whatever it is you believe in, you can still have that. Because for the ancestors, it's not like you're worshiping them. They're just almost like a voice of guidance. And of course, on matters that have to do with money, it helps to know that they've probably figured out how money works, how it functions, and its ultimate how to, whilst they were still in this realm. And of course, when they passed on, they would have known some things that they can shake up for you so that like stuff can work out. So yeah, that's another reason. And now we go to the tools. So as I mentioned, your ancestor altar is completely up to you. What you decide to put on it is completely up to you. What you will probably need is like a table. If you don't have a table, you can put it on the floor, like anything that will just get things going. But this should be like an area that you're now going to cherish. You're going to treat it as it's sacred and probably not allow anyone to just like touch it or anything. This should be like your sacred space, like your altar and all. So what you need is, you probably need like to nice it up. If it's going to be a table, put a cloth that you know you're going to like looking at. And then you're going to need a white candle, because anytime that I talk to my ancestors, I light up a white candle, to represent them. And you can also, of course, have like different other candles that are in connection with like any other spirit work that you're going to be doing. But anytime that you speak to your ancestors, you might want to light up a white candle every time. And if you like incense, if it doesn't bother you to have incense, because some people don't like the smell of incense. But if you're cool with incense, you might want to put it up there too. Something that is like nice smelling, something that'll make you feel relaxed. You might also want to put it there. I also have all of my crystals on my altar. I make it look good. I have all of my crystals there. So I said a candle, a white candle. I have my crystals. I have images of the ancestors that I've put on my altar. If you don't have images, or maybe you don't know who your ancestors are, like I know for some people are adopted, so you might not know who exactly your ancestors are, or you don't have pictures. You could put their names if you know their names. If you don't, that's still okay. You can put your own picture there, and then you can connect to them just like that. Like even if you don't know their names, if you're spiritually sensitive, eventually it'll come to you. Eventually. If not, trust me, if you put your picture there and you reach to your higher consciousness, it will do everything for you. Everybody has ancestors. Everyone. You gotta come from somewhere. Everybody has ancestors. So yes, then you put an image, and also you're going to want a cup of water. And this is like the universal offering that you can give to your ancestors. You can give them a glass of water that you will change from time to time, so just so that you keep the water fresh. Put it in a nice clean glass that you would offer to a visitor or someone. Some people like to put food on their altar. I honestly don't put food on my altar because I don't want insects coming to the house or like the food going bad. So I like to bring objects instead, or stuff that I knew those particular ancestors liked. So those are the objects that I put on my altar, the things that I knew they liked, but they're not food, because unless if like I said, it's completely up to you. Some people want to put food, and that's okay. Some people like to bring flowers. Some people like to bring I don't know, just like little gifts. Like, you can figure it out. And I also have a plant, because thing is, you want to bring in all the elements, all the earth's elements on your altar. So you have the glass of water to represent water. You have the crystal and possibly a plant to represent the earth, and you're going to light up a candle which is going to represent fire and air. So there you have it. You have all your elements there. And so that's on the tools. Of course, as time goes on, if you feel pulled to put something else on your altar, it's completely up to you. It's your altar. You shouldn't feel weird about anything. Like, it's your altar and you make the rules, because all in all, it's your craft anyways. So you shouldn't feel like the need to put stuff that you've seen on the internet or on Instagram that looks like aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have to be pleasing to anyone else but you. Even if it looks weird, because my cousin's sister calls my altar a shrine, and I'm always laughing about it, because I know it probably doesn't look like very aesthetically pleasing, and it's like right there. Like, if you come to my place, if you come to my house, you're most likely going to see my altar, unless if you're focusing on other things. So my sister calls it a shrine, because it's just like weird objects that are on there. Sometimes if I see a little rock that I like, I'm going to put it on the altar. If I pick up something that I like, or any other stuff that I use for my spell work. Plus, it's a lot of color because of the crystals. So yeah, if it looks fine to you, then it's for you, and that's it. You can also put names of other people that are still alive, maybe your siblings or your parents, or anyone that you would like to be, anyone that you mostly include in your prayers and you want them to be okay, or you want to say prayers of protection or prayers for good luck or whatever it is. You can also put them on your altar, like a paper list of names, and you can have it there. So you should feel comfortable when you're talking to your ancestors. You shouldn't feel afraid, because this usually happens with Christians. Like, they're always afraid. And some have even tagged their ancestors as demons or as evil spirits. And you must understand that the moment that you're afraid of something, even if you get into it, like now, if you already believe that your ancestors are evil or they're demons, the moment that you set up an altar, something is definitely going to go wrong, and you're going to be scared, and you're going to be like, I was right the whole time. So it's best, like, if you don't feel ready to do it, you don't have to do it. You probably shouldn't, because everything around you is going to make sure that your mind and your brain's beliefs are brought to life. So it's best that if you're not feeling comfortable with doing it, it's just best not to get into it or engage at all. Like, just stay away from it until the time that you feel good. I'm not sure if I've exhausted everything. Like, with ancestor work, there's so much and you're always learning. But and also you will want to set up a schedule for your ancestor altar. Like, if you decide that you're going to be visiting your altar every Wednesday or every Thursday or every Monday, or maybe you're more free on the weekend, then show up every time. Imagine setting up a meeting with someone and then they don't show up. Like, getting stood up just sucks generally. So what you're gonna do is, if you decide on a date, just like show up every time, light that candle, do everything. This is something that I noticed works so much for me every time. Like, every time I come from my ancestor altar, everything just seems to change. It's something that even my boyfriend was saying, that, whoa, every time you do your altar work, stuff just starts happening. And I was telling you, right? I've noticed too, like I wasn't talking about it, but I noticed that like every time I come from my ancestor altar, things just start shifting all of a sudden, and it makes me feel so well taken care of, because the moment that I leave the altar, whatever it is that I was worried about gets shifted in my favor, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's something else that I might have left out. So yeah, now it's such a long video, but yeah, this is cool. So for anyone who does a lot of spirit work, like if you know that you're already dabbling in a lot of things that have spirituality in them, you know, like working with forces and stuff, like if you know you're already doing spells and things that include other deities and stuff, you might want to make sure that you have your ancestor set up first. You might want to make sure that before you work with any other deities or any other spirits or demons or whatever it is, fairies or whatever, like all of those stuff, make sure that you have your ancestor altar set up first. Make sure that you have a good relationship going on with your ancestors, because in the spiritual realm, like your ancestors are always your first line of protection. So if you're going to end up doing anything else that can potentially be harmful or that could go sideways, you want to make sure that your ancestors are, like, you're cool with your ancestors, because if anything happens, you have absolutely nothing protecting you. Like, forget all that stuff about thinking you have already so much power within you and you've done all these protection spells. Bro, they're not going to do anything for you. Like, they're not going to do anything for you, because your physical being and anything that is in the spirit is sort of like hard to reach for you. But for your ancestors, they're in that realm and they understand how things work in both this realm and that realm. So you want to make sure that you have that set up first. There was this thing that was trending on the internet about, what do they call it? It was like a salt and a vinegar thing, which shocked me, because usually vinegar is used to hex and all of that stuff. So the way that people were doing it just sounded like they were hexing themselves. But what do I know, right? And these people that are getting into these Facebook spirit games are just people. These are the same people that call their ancestors their demons and call them bad spirits. And then now you want to get into something that you have no idea what it does, and it's potentially harmful, and you just go straight in. But it's just a bad idea. So anyway, you should have your ancestors face front, because those are the people that are going to be rooting for you, whatever thing that you're going to want to aim for in life, your goals, your whatnot. It just moves faster when you have a strong connection with your ancestors. This is also something that, when I think about it right now, has worked for my family for a really long time. And the moment that they decided to stray away from like their ancestor work and whatnot, things sort of like went down. But, excuse me. But yeah, that's the stuff that has to do with ancestors. This is like a 20-minute video already. And I'm not even sure if everyone's going to be watching right up until the end. But of course, if you're going to be doing anything that has to do with ancestors and you need first-hand information, I'm your girl. I'm going to help you with that. I got experience now. So yeah, I'm glad I shared this information with you. This was like a part that I had been holding back because of people and what they think. But like, bruh, at this point, I do not care, because the things that worked for me to be here did not involve very many people. It just involved like a few intimate people and my ancestors and my craft. So yes, this is the information that I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, you could look for me and hit me up. Let's talk about it. Hello, Daddy. So yes, I'd love to. That was my dad. I love to learn everything that you guys are going through. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. I'd love to know what you guys think or what you're going through. See you in the next one. Bye.